natural habitat of the polar bear is the Arctic. The natural habitat of the scorpion is the desert. How about humans? What is our natural habitat? As a species, we need to discover what it means to live in a world where the born and the made are fusing. What exactly is natural in our environments? What does it mean to live in the next nature? Behind each of these four doors is one dream for the future of human habitat. Each of them explores our living environments in terms of the relationship between that which is born, that which is made, and the amount of control that we have over them. What if machines take over? What if we move to virtual reality? What if we went back to prehistory? The question we leave to you as you enter this dream is this one. If you could choose, where would you like to live? How do you see your life in next nature? Step inside. It is often the case when we talk about where we live that people complain about the excess of technology and civilization. It is said that it separates us from our true habitat, that we should go back to living surrounded by nature, back to living in harmony with the animals and plants. So what if we went back to old nature? Welcome to the Garden of Eden. But make no mistake, this Eden is no paradise. Here, everything is born, yet everything is beyond our control. Not many are able to survive in the Garden of Eden. All sorts of diseases and predators are waiting to kill us at every corner. Every day is a struggle to find food and shelter. The weather can be harsh and unpredictable. Without medicine and vaccines, our lifespan is severely shortened. Out of 7 billion people, only a few thousand remain. Still, many enjoy living free from modern civilization. In the Garden of Eden, we live in small tribal communities. We eat what we hunt and gather, live off of what the land provides. Millions of years of evolution have primed us to live in this habitat. Here, we will have to start education from the beginning to create new societies, new art, new ways to live. We have to make our own way without carrying the burden of thousands of years of human culture. We are like children newly arrived, unprepared, and without science or technology to help us. Would you want to live here? If this version of nature sounds too scary for you, then maybe you'd prefer something a little more under control, something that is less born and more made. We are used to seeing our habitat as physical, material spaces, yet nowadays data and information are becoming more and more part of our living environments. From our pockets to our houses, screens and interfaces are everywhere, spilling their virtual content into our so-called real lives. So what if we lived in a world of screens, a world of programmable spaces, a world of constant immersion in the virtual? Welcome to the modernist dream. Through these new windows, the world is at our fingertips. Virtual spaces materialize themselves in front of you as you invoke them. Your every wish is a command, because here, reality is programmable, transparent, measurable. Oceans of data that are adjustable through interfaces. There is no more privacy, but why would you care? Simulations would be so perfect that the distinction between real and virtual would disappear. Is this real life, or only a hologram? Would you dare step into such a controlled world? Yet, if you aim for such a perfectly controlled world, you may end up with a little more than you asked for. What if what we make becomes a nature on its own right? What if the machines would advance so much that they become an ecosystem? This is a world where everything is made, yet everything is beyond our control. Welcome to the Techno Favela. Global commerce and economy are taken over by autonomous systems and by artificial intelligence. They have become the masters of the world, and humans are no longer the dominant species on Earth. The whole world is run by a non-human super-intelligence. In the Techno Favela, technology will solve everything, including humans. But that is not necessarily a bad thing. We are finally free from work. Machines have automated everything, and they provide us with all we need. We adapt to its machine dynamics, just like we did with climate. This world is also alive, just not with biology. Would you live in the Techno Favela? But perhaps what you would like would be to live in a world where all things are born, but are not a threat. What if we would live in a world where nature is completely cultivated, designed into what we want? Here, everything is born, but everything is controlled. Welcome to the HyperNatural Resort. This is an enhanced version of nature, made by designing, mutating, and genetically modifying biology. Nature is completely cultivated. Nature becomes culture, but made for leisure. In the HyperNatural Resort, you pick bioluminescent flowers and play with psychedelic fireflies. The forest will be your supermarket and your house will grow on a tree. Yet here, there would be no space for wilderness anymore. Everything you think you know about nature will never apply again. Are you willing to definitively leave the Garden of Eden and design your own paradise? Coming out of this dream, Would you like to go to the Garden of Eden, living in the wilderness with no technology? Or would you instead prefer the Techno Favela, a world in which technology has taken over? Or would you rather have a life of transparency and control in the modernist dream? Or instead, would you prefer living in the simulation of the HyperNatural Resort, an enhanced version of nature? This dream leaves us to wonder as to where do we actually stand in relation to the born and the made? To what extent do we actually have control of our worlds? As humans, we are right smack in the middle. We are born, and yet we make ourselves. We have control, but are subjected to much greater forces. So the question remains,